Hello, beautiful teachers! Nicola here to tell you about some of the latest stuff that we've added to Vivid Practice. So, to give you a quick overview first, we have our new slow downer option and speed upper option in the app. So, I'll explain what I mean by that. We have the ability to add multiple assignments to a student's profile at once, and a few other bits and pieces, and then I'm going to tell you a bit about what we have upcoming very soon. So I'm going to show you around the app to show you the speed feature that we've added to audio and video. Before I do that, in case you've no idea what I'm talking about, Vivid Practice is a practice app for students and a assignment and lesson planning management site for teachers. You can get a free account at vividpractice.com if you've not tried it before and test it out to your heart's content. So let me show you around the app first of all. So this is the app, if you've not seen it before, and this is what a student sees on their side. And to show you the new feature, I'm going to go to Practice. It'll work in any of these modes. I'm going to go to Blocked. And I'll go to the Foxtrot first. So I have a video attached to this assignment. It's a piece that was on a exam that my student was learning, and I recorded this video to help them with it. I'm just pausing it so you don't have to listen to me. And then our new option here is for the speed. It's under the 3 dots in the bottom right corner here. You'll see playback speed. And you can change it to half the speed or to faster if you prefer. On Android you can also have 0.75. It's just an iPhone thing that you can't have that. So if a student is feeling like I'm talking too slowly and they want me to get to the point, or they feel like I'm going too quickly and they want to slow it down, especially when I'm demonstrating something on the piano, they can do that there. And I'll show you an audio track as well. So in Dragon Dance I have an audio track here, and in this one, it's in the top right corner. There's this symbol. This is used on many video platforms and things like that. So students will often be familiar with that symbol, meaning speed. And you can change the speed of the audio track there. So this is really useful for students who are playing along with backing tracks, or maybe practicing a duet with the other part of the duet, or many different use cases like that. They'll be able to speed up and slow down the video and the audio attachments. With this and anything else in the app, I'd highly recommend doing it with your students. So Daniel Light, who is a great Vivid Practice user and wonderful support in the community, he was on Amy Chaplin's podcast, Piano Pantry, and he was sharing a bit about how he uses Vivid Practice with his students on there. And he mentioned something that I haven't really done, so I'm curious to try this with my students, and I think it's a good one to give a go. What he does is he has the app open on his own device, on a phone or iPad or whatever he has, and he's logged in as the student, and he uses the app right there in the lesson for them to manage, all the things that they were assigned and go through what they practiced, and then obviously he's adding new things and they go through those too. So they're actively using the app to manage the lesson. I think this is a great thing to do every so often. We're going to do it for the first couple of weeks here at Colourful Keys when we restart teaching in a couple of weeks, so that students really become more acclimatized to the app and it just gets them used to using it and teaches by example that this is how we're going to manage things. And if you're doing stuff like that, you can easily at the same time be teaching them how to use the playback speed features and things like that that come up. So that's just a great way to teach your students about that. Now, a couple of other things on the website side of things, which is what the teacher uses. So this is my test account on the Vivid Practice site, and I'm going to go to one of my students. Let's choose Claire. These are not real students. It would be amazing if these were my real students' names, but they're not. So one of the new features we have is the custom order of assignments. So you see this new option up here, sort by, default, custom. So if you're not interested in deciding the order that assignments show up to your students, just ignore this. You just leave it on default. It'll be the same as it always was before. Okay, so if this is not for you, that's fine. Just leave it, no problem. If you do want to decide the order that assignments show up for your students, so this means when they go to blocked mode or any other mode, the order that they see that list in, you can set it to custom. And when you do that, you'll see this extra little icon over here. So you click on that to move the assignments around. And now this is the order that they will show to your student, and it will save this order for you. Okay, so whatever order you like. Now, let's say I say to myself, oh, no, wait, I don't want to do custom. And I go back to default. No problem. I can set it back to default. It will change on the student's end as well. Now let's say I say, oh, no, wait, I did mean to do custom. If I'm like super indecisive. If you go back to custom, it has saved the way you had it before. Okay? So you don't lose the order you had. So you can easily go back and forth between them depending on how you want to use it. While we're here though, there's another amazing feature, which is one of my favorite things ever, which came out actually while I was traveling. So Nicole showed us around this while I was away. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's magical. We now have a future section for assignments. And so students, you can add a future assignment for your students. I'll give you an example from my library. Let's say in the future, maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks, I'm not sure, I want to have them do the 60-second challenge. Well, I can put it in the future section. Okay, and I can also move assignments from my active list to the future tab. So if there's something I'm not sure I want them to have yet, I can have it in the future section, and then when I'm ready to put it so that they can actually see it in the active tab, I just put it back like that. Now, I think for many teachers it would also be useful to use this just for teacher notes. So you can add an assignment here to the future tab and never assign it to your students if that's what you want to do. And then just use it to note things. So let's say you want to note down flashcard times and you don't want your student to see that, or what games you've used, or anything else that just isn't an assignment that the student needs to do anything with at home. You could put that in the future tab and then just save it for your own notes and never assign it to them. And edit it, but keep it in the future if you want. We do have this note section in the student profile as well, but in some cases you might want the sort of formatted way that the assignments are, but to never assign it to a student. So that's an option too. Now, another little adjustment we've made here is about deactivated students. So you'll see here Terry Tiramisu is deactivated. It used to be that his name would still show here and it would be grayed out, but it would still show in this list. And if you have a lot of deactivated students, they kind of might get in your way with scrolling up and down. So we now have it that they don't show up in this list. They only show up on the students page, just to make it a little bit quicker to navigate. And then finally, for now, we have the option to add multiple assignments from your library. So you can go through your folders and add several things at one time. You just check the boxes, click assign, and they all go to the student. And if you then want to edit something, you can go into each and edit the notes or whatever else. My favorite thing about this is being able to search and assign. So let's say, I think I have the Minterval in this test account. So I never really would do this, but let's say I wanted to assign all 3 levels of the Minterval challenge to a student at the same time. Just as an example, I can click assign and they all go in like that. So I think this is super useful for that. So like you can use it navigating folders and any other which way where you want to assign multiple things to a student at once. Where I bring up the searches, a lot of times you might have like, you search for like major arpeggio and then you want to give them several arpeggios. That's just one example. But there's a lot of things where we search for a keyword and then we actually need several things from the search results. And so we can do it in one go. And it's just all about saving you time as much as we possibly can. So I hope you love those new features. I want to share with you a couple of upcoming things. If some of these don't make sense to you or you're not sure what I'm talking about, that's fine. It'll become clear in time. And I promise none of them will get in your way either. If you're happy with the app as is, that's fine. You won't have to use these things, but some things that are upcoming that might be interesting. So first of all, notifications for teachers about messages. This is specifically one that is not for me at all because I'm not going to use this feature, but I know many of you want it. So this is to get an email notification when your student messages you so that you don't have to have the website open and look at it to know when you have new messages. So obviously a little icon shows up when you have new messages, but maybe you don't want to keep the site open for some reason, or you just do a lot of things on the go, like, I don't know, you have kids and you're running between the different activities and you do a lot of your work from your phone. And so you want to just get notified every time there's a message so that you can deal with it right away. That is going to be for you. It's going to be optional, so you'll turn on a setting to get those email notifications about new messages from students. Another one is a bit of an experiment, but I think it's going to be good. This is a bit of a behind the scenes because I'm not sure exactly what this is going to look like, but it's something we're working on because I think it could be really useful. This is to have the note category, so assignments that are marked as notes. It's a specific category of assignment as opposed to a piece or an exercise, etc. If it's a note, it basically is usually some kind of reminder or something like that. For instance, I use it for cut your nails a lot in my studio, or it might be remember to bring your jazz book or something like that. The new experiment, which obviously we'll test behind the scenes and make sure it's super user-friendly before we roll this out, is to have that note show up as a little icon on the home screen. So you know when we're on the home screen, we have practice and view only. The note, any notes that you leave, will be like a little sticky that stays on the home screen so that it's really in students' faces, and you can use that as an extra reminder for stuff like that students won't miss. The next one is one that hasn't exactly been requested. This one is very much for me, but it's not only for me. So it has been, teachers have looked for this with different wordings and different descriptions, but I think it's going to solve that need for a lot of teachers. But they wouldn't think to ask for it in this format because this is something specific to my studio. So this is going to be challenge assignments. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, some of you may know the challenge board that I have in my studio. Each challenge has specific criteria, like I have scale challenges, and the first level is just to play all their major scales back to back. I have them do it round the circle of fifths at 80 BPM, okay? So that's kind of the first level of the challenge. It's not an advanced challenge, but it is challenging. It is difficult for a beginner to be able to do that, and they have to work hard to achieve it. When they do that, I put a little sticker on the front of their folder that says Scale Apprentice, the first level of the challenge, and they get their name on the challenge board. So if you're curious about any of that in-person stuff, you can look up the challenge board on our blog or in the Vibrant Music Teaching membership. The Vivid Practice component of this is that we're going to have an option to mark an assignment as a challenge. Now, if you never want to use it and you're not interested in this, you just won't ever use that checkbox, and that is fine. But if you do check that box, it's going to add if you do check that box and then you assign it to a student and then you mark it complete, once you mark it complete, that student, let's say Alice, is going to get a little star on her profile picture. So I know many of you know that I don't believe in points or tokens or things like that. And this might at surface level feel like that, but it's really quite different because it's working towards a specific goal that is largely effort-based, and then just giving a small acknowledgement that we have achieved that goal. So as I say, if you never want to touch this, you won't have to, but it's an extra option for marking certain things. You're going to want to use it very sparingly, like you're going to want them to be challenging things and not use it just on anything, because then the stars will be meaningless. But for those specific challenges, or if you're doing the system that I use in my studio that I share on the blog and in the membership, then this will be an extra way of acknowledging those students' challenges completed. Another thing that's coming soon, probably in the next couple of months, is different time options for interleaved and Pomodoro modes. So for the interleaved mode, the way we set it up initially was just that each chunk in the interleaved mode is 4 minutes, and there's no way to change that. I do still think 4 minutes is a really good time, and I don't want to introduce really long chunks of time because that's not in the spirit of interleaved practice, but I do see the case for having a shorter and a longer option than that. So there's going to be options for that, and then there's going to be more flexibility as well with the Pomodoro mode and the length of time for our practice and break times, as well as the total practice duration there. If none of that meant anything to you, just don't worry about it. You'll see when it comes out, okay? And that is it for the directly upcoming. I'm going to save the other upcoming stuff that's coming after that for another video, so as not to be overwhelming. But I hope you're loving Vivid Practice. We're loving running it for you, and we appreciate all your support. If you're someone who's not tried it before, you can go to vividpractice.com to get a free account to test it out for yourself. I have one more thing before I let you go, and that is also to do with practice. It's about our survey. So if you haven't heard yet, we're doing this survey all about practice. We're asking about how often students practice, how long they practice for, what struggles they have fitting in practice time, whether they enjoy practice, things like that. And the survey is for teachers, students, and parents. Basically, at the start of the survey, you pick which one you are, and then you're served the correct questions for who you are. The reason we're doing this is so that we can put together a report that I believe has never been done before about music practice. Now, modern music practice. What does it look like? What are the struggles? What issues are coming up? And how much are students really practicing? What's actually realistic in this modern day, right? So I need your help getting it out there, because the more responses we get to this survey, the better it's going to be when we put together the report, which will be totally free for everyone to have. So it's for our industry to shore it up and make it better and help improve practice habits everywhere. So it's for the good of us all, but I need responses. I would love you to fill it out, but I would particularly love you sharing it with your students and parents in your studio, if you can pass it on, or any students or parents of students that you know, because on here, mostly I'm talking to teachers. So that's who I'm reaching. And I only know the teachers and students really in my own studio. That's all I've got to reach. So I really need your help spreading it so that we get responses from the parents and students. I think I said teachers there when I meant parents, but the parents of music students and the music students themselves who are a little bit older, so that we have data from all three sides so we can get a complete 360 picture of what's going on with practice. That's my goal here. So it takes less than 3 minutes to complete. Seriously, it's not a big ask. Less than 3 minutes to complete it. So please fill it out yourself. Please pass it on. The link is vibrantmusicteaching.com/practice, and I'll pop it in the description as well. And I super appreciate you spreading the word. Thank you so much.